Hey, this is dumediat. Back here on BremSter's channel to bring you another puzzle, this one by BremSter, called Welcome to the House, and I'm excited to get into this one. In this puzzle, we have normal Sudoku rules, so every row, every column, and every 3x3 box will have the digits 1 to 9 once each with no repeats. We also have cages in the grid, and the digits that we place in the cage must sum to the number in the top left corner of the cage if given. And notice in this grid, there's one cage here that doesn't have a total, so we can put any digits in there, provided that they don't repeat within a cage. So digits may not repeat in any cage, so none of these cross boxes could contain, for example, we couldn't do like 282 here because the 2 repeats. We also have German whispers, so digits along these green lines must differ by at least 5. So if I were to put a 2 here, then this digit here needs to be at least 5 greater than 2, or 5 different than 2. So the only options here would be 7, 8, 9. I'm going to go ahead and make sure my pencil mark tracker is off, and I will restart my timer. Give this a try. So I notice we have some 2 cell 15 cages throughout the grid here. And the only way to make 15 and 2 cells is either 6, 9, or 7, 8. But none of the 15 cages see one another, so if we're just looking at these by themselves, these could all be the same pair of digits in all 4 of these. I'm sure we'll find other logic that might say otherwise, but now if you've not solved German whispers puzzles before or not familiar with the constraint, a couple of things that are just implied by the rule set are that you can never put 5 on a line, because if you try to do that, you need to have a digit here. Even if we put it at the end of the line, you need to have a digit that's 5 different, so you either need a 0 or a 10. So in a normal Sudoku with digits 1 to 9, we can't do that. The other thing that's implied is that if we put any digit in this cell, let's just put a 1 in there, we know we need to have the next digit be at least 5 different, so that's going to be at least 6. And so we flip from a low digit to a high digit, low being below 5 and high being above 5, because 5 can't be on the line. So if we know that one of these digits is low, then we can propagate that along the line, and we alternate high, low along the line. So that's always going to be true for any German whisper puzzle with normal digits 1 to 9. So here we know that the other side of this 2-cell German whisper line will be a low digit. Here we're going to have a low in this cell and then a high in this cell. And that's interesting for this 10 cage because we already could have guessed high-low as soon as we get this as low. If we're summing to 10, the other digit is going to be high. We can't put 5 in a 2-cell 10 cage. So there's also going to be some restrictions on where 5s can go. But the same thing is going to be true actually throughout the grid. So I'll go ahead and mark these. Some people use color for this. If I'm got these short lines, I typically don't color along these unless I have to. I usually pencil mark the grid. It ends up looking a little messy, but hopefully we're not doing that throughout the whole grid here. Okay, so we've got our 1, 2, 3s, and 4s. Noticing we've got 3 high digits kind of along. So it's just something to keep in mind. We can only have 1 more high digit, for example, in column 9. So looking at this 9 cage, it doesn't need a high digit. It could be 4, 5. And the same with this 8 cage over here. It's not really telling us anything yet. Same thing within this box. We can only use 1 more high digit in boxes 1, 3, 7, and 9. We are a little restricted on where 5 can go because most of these cells in box 1, for example, are on whisper lines, so 5 can only go in these cells. It's kind of the same across the grid. We can't have, well, we know 5's in one of those. Same thing over here, but we've got this extra cell, except it's in a 2-cell 10 cage. So if we would have put 5 here, we need to put another 5 here, and that breaks for 2 reasons, 3 reasons. So we actually have 5 in these cells, 5 in these cells, and same thing over here. We can't put the 5 in the 2-cell 10 cage. So 5 will be here. It doesn't tell us a lot yet. Okay, so if I look at the possibilities, another thing about German whisper lines is with 4 and 6. If I were to put 4 on a whisper line, the only digit that can go adjacent to it is a 9. Because that's the only digit available that's 5 different from it. And the other digit that's important is 6, because the only valid digit 5 different from 6 in a Sudoku is 1. So 4 and 6 are some important digits to note. So if I were to put, I noticed if I were to put a 6 here in this cell, just to show, this would be a 6-9 cage for the to make the 15 work. The whisper says the 6 would have to go next to a 1, but then we need to put, for this 10 cage, we need to put a 9 to go with the 1, and now we've got 2 9s in the box. So I noticed, okay, so this can't be 6 and this can't be 9. And the same thing is going to happen with the 9. That's pretty cool. So if we were to make this 9, and this would be 6 for the 15 cage, this would be 4 to make the whisper work. Or actually, that's not true. I think it's the other way around. If I make this 4, this has to be 9, which makes this 6 for the 15 cage. And for the 10 cage to work, we need to repeat the 6. So that doesn't work. So this can't be 4 and this can't be 6. I'm wondering if there's any other restrictions we can get on this. So the other thing I'm seeing here is if this is 7, we have an 8 here, and so this would have to be 9. This would go 7, 8, 9 with a 1 here. So if this is 7, this is 1. It can't be 2. If this is 8, this would also go 7, 9, and this would be 1 again. Because of the 15 cage, it would go 8, 7. This would have to be a 9, and then this would be 1. So this is 1. If this is 7 or 8, this is a 1. If this is 9, this is 6, and this is 1. Because 6 would have to go next to 1. So regardless of what happens, we always have a 1 in those 2 cells. And I think that logic is going to be symmetrical, because we're just, for this to work, we've got this 2-cell 15 cage, 2-cell 10 cage, this German whisper line, and this German whisper line. And so we should be able to, these are all constructed the same way around the grid. They're just oriented a little bit differently. So we should be able to, let's just double check once, and then if this works down here, I'll make sure I'll put it in the other boxes. But if this is 4, so this is 6, this is 1. To make this 4 work, this would be 9, and then this would be 1. Yep, that doesn't work. And then if this is 6, this has to be 1 for the whisper. This is 9 for the 10 cage, and then this would also be 9. Yep, that doesn't work. Okay, so that's not 6, that's not 9, that's not 4, that's not 6. And again, just to double check, if this is 7, this is 8, this is 9, this is 1, If this is 8, this is 7, this is 9, this is 1 again. And then if this is 9, 6, this is 1. Yeah, so we get these pointing ones again. Now these ones look down, and it tells us that this can't be 1. So this has to be our 1, the 9 here. That's really cool. And this is going to go around the grid. But let me just clean this up a little bit. So this, I should point out too, the 4 and the 6 I mentioned here, 4 and 6 can never be somewhere along German West Carolina. It would have to be on an endpoint, because if we did put a 4 here, these would both have to be 9. That's the one thing I forgot to explain. So none of these can be 4. Okay, so we know in this cage, the way this is oriented, the 1 is either in the 10 cage or it's in the center cell in the box. So we know one of these is a 1, except this one looks over. So this is the 1, this is the 9. And this is a 7, 8. Okay, and then again here, the 1 is either in the 10 cage or in the center cell, but this one looks up. And then this becomes a 1, 9, and this is 7, 8. And then this 7, 8 is going to look over, well, we know we'll just use the 1s again, but there's a few reasons why this will work. 1 looks over, making this 1, that's 9. This is 9, and this is 8. Oops, it's not 6, so these are 7, 8. So what I said at the beginning actually wasn't true. These are all the same 15 cage, 7, 8 pairs. That's really nice. I like that interaction. Something else interesting I just noticed. I didn't say anything at the beginning, but 15 cages in 3 cells. There's a trick you can use for these. So any way you make 15, I'll use this straight one because it's a little bit easier to see. You either need a high, a middle, and a low digit, meaning a digit from 1, 2, 3, a digit from 4, 5, 6, or a digit from 7, 8, 9. One of each entropy, sometimes that's called. Or it's a 4, 5, 6, and they're all from that middle entropic band. That's the only ways to make 3 cell 15 cages work. And if you want to try to prove that to yourself, if you try to use 2 low digits, let's say 2 and 3, this would have to be 10, so that doesn't work. If you want to try to use 2 high digits, use 7 and 8, that's already broken. And so you can't use more than 1 low digit, more than 1 high digit. You could use none if this is 4, 5, 6, because this adds to 15. The reason I'm bringing that up is because we have all of our high digits used in box 1 here. So this can't have a high digit in it, and it could only have 1 low digit in it. And if we try to do that, let's say we try to put a 2 or 3 in here with 2 middle digits, we can only ever get, even if we make this 3, we can only ever get to 14. So just as a proof for that kind of knowledge that occurs from just learning how 15 cages work in 3 cells. Now, what I said a few minutes ago about 4 and 6 never being along a line, that's only true if all of the digits, or all the 2 kind of surrounding cells, see each other, because these obviously both couldn't be 9. In this case, we have a 4 or a 6 sort of where these cells don't see each other. So these could both be 1 or 9, and in fact, in this case, they have to be. So these are 1 or 9, and these are the same 1 or 9. Color these yellow so we know that. We've got the same thing down here where we've got all our high digits used up. So this is also 4, 5, 6. And then this is, these could be the same 1, 9. I'm not, these colors don't necessarily mean that they're different, but I'm just going to color them so we know that they're both 1 and 9. And actually, I think this is going to resolve quickly here because 1 is looking at both these. So these cells have to be 9. I'm going to delete the color. These are 9. So this has to be a 4. We have the same thing here. Yes, we've got the 1 looking at these. So these have to be 9, the color, and this has to be 4. like that. Okay, just checking Sudoku on 9. We've got 4 9s looking into box 5. So we know 9 has to be in the center cell here. These are 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, we've got 2s and 3s in the center here. Something else that might be helpful before we do that is this 9 cage sees a 7 8 pair. So this can't be 1 8 or 2 7. So this is either 3 6 or 4 5. Oh, and in here, the 5 is not here because we know the 5 is over here. So this is a 2 or 3. Same thing up here. This is a 2 or 3 for the box. All right. This is a little restricted. So this 10 cage here sees a 4 and a 9. So it can't be 1 9 or 4 6. This has to be 2 8 or 3 7. This can't be 7 or 8. So this is 7 8. This is a 2 3. So these are from 4 5 6. This one's not a 4. This one's not a 4. So we get a 4 in the corner here. We've got this pattern of 5 6s that I think is going to end up the same up here. Let's just double check. Again, this 10 cage sees a 4 and a 9. Can't be 4 6 or 1 9. So this is 2 3 7 8, 7 8 pair. I really like this kind of puzzle where you get to discover a piece of logic and then use it throughout the grid. Whether it's symmetrical or not, but you get to sort of repeat the logic and sort of use what you learned. I really like that in these puzzles. So this is 4 5 6. The box, again, we've got a 4 looking at this one, 4 looking at this one. So this is a 4. So we've got these 4s around the grid. Looks like 4, 4, 4, and 4. So we know that 4, oh, actually, we know more than that. But just by Sudoku, that's where 4s can go in these boxes. The reason I say we know more than that is because we've got a 2 3 pair and a 5 6 pair. So the only digits left are 4 7 8. And that's going to be true, yeah, for here, here, and here. So these are 4 7 8. This 8 cage can't be 1 7, but it can still be 2 6 or 3 5, I believe. Oh, this 4 looks down at the 9 cage, so that's not 4 5. That's got to be 3 6. So that 3 6 looks down, making this 2. That's 3. And then I'll first do Sudoku and then we'll finish the German whisper here. But if while I'm doing Sudoku you want to guess what that cell is, this 3 looks up, making this a 2, which looks over makes this a 3, looks down makes that a 2. So then along a whisper line, I didn't want to forget Sudoku. Let me actually do that, more of that. So this 2 makes this a 3, which makes this a 7. This 3 makes this a 2. This 2 makes this a 3, which makes this a 7. The 7, well, now we've got 2 reasons why this is an 8, but also 7 can't go next to 3 on a whisper line. Always helps to do this sort of record keeping when you get a lot of digits all at once. 7 here. This 2 looks down, taking a 2 6 out of here, so this is 3 5. This column, we still need a 6, which goes here, which looks over, making this 3, this 6. This is not because of this cell. Sure, we're going to get more than that. This 7 takes 7 out of these. Okay, so, oh, okay, so there's a few places to look. Not sure where the most efficient way is, but that's fine. This 7 on this whisper line can only go next to 1 or 2. Same with this one. What else can we look at? This triple here is a 3, 5, 6. So this pair is a 1, 2. Just notice, and I was double checking that we can't resolve this 7, 8 pair because this 2 here can still go next to 7 or 8. Same with up here. I don't see anything looking at it yet. Oh, but we've got a single here. This is a 5. So that looks like we're making this 3 and 5. These 3s need to go in box 5. Let's go here. And 5 similarly needs to go up here. This triple now is 3, 5, 6. This being a 1, 2 pair. Okay. Might be other things to look at here, but I'm noticing these 15 cages are interesting. So far throughout the grid, we sort of had this rotational symmetry where everything sort of reflects down. But this is going to break that symmetry, these two 15 cages. The reason I say that is because we've got 3 different digits, both of which include a 9. So both of these cages include a 9. So this domino here needs to sum to 6, and this domino here needs to sum to 6. Now what would happen if this 1, 2 pair here, if these were the same digit? Well, for one thing, these would be the same digit. We made this a 1, this would be a 2. This would be a 1, this would be a 2. So if you want, you can start by coloring the 1s and 2s. Make that blue, yellow, blue, yellow. And so we know these are 2 different digits. And so because they're in box 5, these are in 2 different digits. That's the other way you can see this logic. So if these sum to 6, this is either 4 or 5. But this can't be a 5. So this is a 4. 2, 1, 2, 1. And so this would be 9 plus 1 is 10. We need 5, which works. It's 5 takes 5 out of these cells. Got a 3, 6 pair in the column, so this can't be 3. We've also got a 4 in the box. I'm going to get rid of my coloring here because I don't need it anymore. But this 1 looks down, making this 2. 1. This 2 and 4 here makes this a 1 and this a 2. Back to our symmetry, sort of, but with different digits. Symmetrical logic. This 4 looks up making this 8, and that 4. That 4 looks down making that 8, and that 4. Okay, so we should have, well, 3, 6 pair here makes this a single, which is an 8. Takes 8 out of these, which makes another pair. But we also know that 3 in box 5 has to go here by Sudoku. We've got those 3s looking in here. And so this has to be a 3. This is a 5, 6 pair. I noticed this 4, 7 pair, so this has to be 1 and 2 for the row. So that's 2, that's 1. I think those are the last 2s and 1s for the grid. Yes. Okay, so this needs to be 6 and 7 for the box. So 6 comes out of here. This 6 makes this the 7 and this the 6. The 7 looks over here. So for this row, we need a 4, 8 pair to finish row 4. And the 4 looks down, making that 8. That 4 makes that 7. That 4. This is 7. It's 8. Looks up, this 8 makes this 7 and 8. That's how those get resolved. Same thing here, 8 and 7. Okay, so what's going to save us here are, well, we know these are 2 different digits by this cage. So these are the same, which is the same as that, which is the same as that, which is the same as that. I was just checking to see if there was something else I could look at, but I think we're going to be doing some coloring here to finish the puzzle. Okay, so let's start here. You know, this has to be different because it's in the same cage. And this is in the same row, this is in the same box. So those are all the same. That looks down, making this blue, this yellow, this blue. Oops, wrong color. That's yellow and that's blue. Okay. So maybe it's, this one doesn't have a sum, but this one does. We know this sums to 15. So there's a 4, so these have to sum to 11. Okay, and that's what's going to do it. If this is 3, this sums to 7. This would have to be 8, but it can't be. So this has to be a 6, which is going to give us our coloring. So we know blue is 5. We know yellow is 6. Go ahead and delete that coloring. Oops. Not the digits in the puzzle, please. The 6 makes that 3 and that 5. That 5 looks down, making that 3 and that 5. And that's the solution to Welcome to the House by BremSter. Really enjoyable puzzle. Thanks for sending this to me, BremSter, and inviting me on the channel to solve it for everybody. I really like this sort of opening logic, which was looking at the high and low digits at first, and then kind of noticing that restriction on ones, which created this sort of pattern. And anytime you see that, like these digits could never be 1 because it would have ruled out 1 from one of the other boxes. So we got this sort of like pinwheel pattern across the grid, and that propagated through to the middle, where we got to see do a lot with pairs and some stuff with entropy with the 15 cages. Just a really nice variety of logic and some cool tricks to learn to apply to other puzzles. Thanks everyone for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. Please leave a comment if you did, and I'll see you again soon. Bye-bye for now.